My name is Mimi Salonen, and I was diagnosed with CF when I was born. I had a meconium ileus, which is like 1 or 10% of the CF population, which is that baby's first poop doesn't quite go through. And so I was airlifted I was born in Montana, and airlifted to Denver Children's to the team down here, and had multiple operations. Jejunostomy, ileostomy, reanostomosis. Those are all fun words to say. Spent a lot of time in the hospital as a newborn, but was able to get out of the NICU and make it home. I was full term though in the NICU, which as a 7-pound baby in the NICU, it's kind of shameful. And I had 2 teeth. I was born with 2 teeth. They had to pull one. So they thought I was a hideous creature of a baby, but parents still loved me, which is great. Yeah, and then from then on, I had to do enzymes and treatments, but CF didn't really feel like a big thing in my life outside of I always say that I feel actually grateful for having a diagnosis since I was born because I've never known a day where I didn't have to take pills. I've never known a day where I haven't had to do treatments. Like never known a day of not fighting, which honestly is probably part of my nervous system issue. But it wasn't ever sprung on me like, well, now to survive, you've got to do all this extra stuff. It's just always been extra stuff. That's like what survival is. So I stayed pretty healthy. I was sick and in and out of hospitals till I was like 3. Then I stayed fairly healthy until like 4th grade, where I lost 30% of my lung function in like a span of 3 months. And they couldn't figure it out. I ended up I was in Montana at the time. They ended up taking me down to Children's in Denver. It was like 2 months in the hospital, high steroid, IV steroid, to the point where like I couldn't see. I'm on steroids right now too. I got my cheekies going, love them. But that point, I was 9 years old, and that really started, like, that's when my life with CF changed drastically, where it was like, okay, we're not just doing we're not just doing enzymes, we're doing like hours of treatments every day, and we've got the vest, and we've got like all these additional things. And that's when the diabetes started, stunted my growth, my bones started dying, I got septic arthritis. Had a lot of like bowel issues, was doing like G tubes all the time. Never had to have a feeding tube. The steroids did change my relationship to food. I was like on the verge of needing a feeding tube. And then they just pumped me full of those steroids, and lo and behold, she got a little chunky, which was great. In elementary, middle, and high school, college, I would be in the hospital for 2-week tune-ups, either 2 to 4 times a year. There were some years that it was like I was in the hospital every single month. There was one year I made every single holiday was spent in the hospital. Like it was just part of my life. Like I'm going to have IVs. I'm going to need to go in. And really with CF, my family history is my uncle, my dad's brother had CF as well, and he died when he was 11. And so when I came into the family already knew about CF in a tragic way, in a devastating loss type of way. And so it was really like, and I'm the baby of the family, so I really just got to do whatever I wanted, because my whole goal was like, well, you have to make it to 11. Like you have to outlive Mark. Like that's going to be the thing that you do. And then I did. And the lifespan, as you know, with CF, as all these amazing developments have happened, I was there for, Toby and Pulmozyme, and like I've been reaping the benefits of all of the incredible research all along the way, and all the advancements in like health. I have just like chased this median age of survival my whole life. And it's a weird thing because most people like the thing that people want to know about you when you tell someone you have cystic fibrosis or like cancer or anything is like, oh, like how serious, like when are you going to die? How serious is it? When are you going to die? You know? And as a kid, people would ask me that all the time, like, so are you going to die? It's like, yes, yes, I will. As will you. You're welcome. Um, but there was never like future planning in my head. It's always been like, we made it this far, let's just do the next thing. So I went to college, got a business degree from the University of Montana, and I had a pulmonologist up there who, at the end of college, he was like, I don't even know why you're here. You're just going to die. And as a doctor, that's like a really rude thing to say to your patient, but unprofessional. But at the same time, it was sort of this like, yeah, I am going to die if you're who's supposed to like help me. I knew that I needed to like find better help. And so I literally was looking to move just to places that had like adult CF centers because an adult CF center was like totally new, right? It was a pediatric disease my whole life. So we went, and my mom already lived in Colorado. I do find it funny that like one of the top, I'll call it the top because it is, CF center in the world is in Denver, Colorado, where is one of the harder places to breathe, you know, like why we have a respiratory institute on such a high peak is, whew, I'd like a beach one, like a beach house. But that center, researched all the different centers and looked at things and had a job offer because in a funny turn of events, this is how you become a comedian. My family is big tobacco and I have cystic fibrosis. So I moved to Colorado to start the Rocky Mountain Cigar Festival, which is a consumer event for cigar smokers. Brings like 2,000 people from around the country and world. And then National Jewish Respiratory Institute. So both things. I held them both. In 2019, I was able to get on the Trikafta study that Jennifer Taylor Kauser was doing. And that was amazing. And Trikafta really changed the trajectory of my life with CF. In fact, this has been by far the hardest health year since 2019, which has been it's been hard on the mind, I'll tell you that much. But it's a hard thing to go from like knowing that your trajectory is downhill to all of a sudden having a trajectory of health that is like thriving or like more things. And in so many ways, it's such a blessing, but also it's a really hard thing to wrap your head around, and how much you should push yourself. And I do push myself a lot. And then I have years like this. And in personal behind the scenes with all of CF that happened, when I got out of college, I got married because I was like, let's get this done. Let's have a marriage. And he thought he was probably only going to have to do like 5 years too, but we're at 15. Whew. 15 years, babe. Trikafta was a blessing for everyone, but my husband. But jokes, jokes, jokes. And then we became adoptive and foster parents too. So we have 2 kiddos. We adopted both of our kids at birth through very different pathways and stories, but I have a 10-year-old named Abel, and I have a 7-year-old daughter named Adriana, and they keep me going and also exhausted. When you have a child die in the family, there are definitely like 2 routes people can take, right? One is a dark humor route to like alleviate your suffering somehow. And the other one can be like a really closed off, angry route. And they all mix together. But I think my family, just in general, like from my grandparents, both sides, have always used humor as like, we've been funny people our whole lives. It's great. We got Irish on one side and golf professionals on the other. And yeah, we just have always used humor, and there's never been anything that's like off the table to joke about, which some people would find very sick. But when you're sick, it's just life, right? Um, and my brother and sister, I have an older sister, 5 years older than me, Liz, and then my brother Tom is 4 years older than me, and I'm the baby of the family, and the sick baby too. So, and they would just call me a brat all the time because I'd get my way with everything. Because who's gonna say no to that, right? She just whittle and she's so sick. But yeah, we joked a lot because when you are in the face of something that's like really hard, like the year that I was in the hospital for every single holiday, it's like you can either ruin the holiday and like make everyone miserable, or you can find something to laugh about. And laughter to me is a way of like thriving and of like releasing pain, releasing tension, whatever it is. I think it's very much a tool that more people should use in general. But it's hard to be funny. You got to suffer a lot to be this funny, let me tell you. But I've always like looked to laughter and like movies and entertainment as ways to quoting things back and forth with each other. And then just like my siblings are stupid funny. My mom and dad were both really funny. And the best feeling in the world was like laughing or getting to make somebody else laugh. It was like my favorite feeling in the world. And so I always thought that like comedy would be like, to be a comedian would be like a goal job. Like, oh my God, you could just be a comedian. But it also felt like, yeah, I'm going to be a superstar, like that. It felt like very unpredictable and unreliable. And when you already live a very unpredictable, unreliable life, taking on a career of unreliability also seemed like a lot. So I just didn't think it was something you could do. But then when my dad passed away 2 years ago, we went through like a friendship breakup, just like had some, it's not like life hadn't been hard up to that point, but there was just something that snapped. I've always wanted to be a comedian. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go do it. I made a pledge to myself, like I will go to an open mic every single week. I write a lot anyways, and so I'd already been writing a lot. I had the stories I wanted to tell. I have the confidence of an average white male. So I will pitch myself for anything. I am highly unqualified for something, just like this podcast. I was like, you want to interview me? Sure. I'll be on. Do you talk to doctors most of the time? I put myself in for grants that like only PhDs ever get most of the time. And I'm like, well, maybe they'd like a comedian to come in and, razzle something up here. Actually, this Mortified show that I just did is probably one of the bigger ones that I talk explicitly about having cystic fibrosis in. And that's because Mortified is like this large community, and it's people who have created something before they're 18. And then a panel of us all, or a group of us all, will get up on stage and read through. So I have these journals. Oh gosh, let me show you. I have these journals from when I was 9 and 10. Look at these bad boys. And these were like the first journals that I had when I started writing. And this one starts October 24th, 1996.
Dear Diary, today I had an okay day. Here it is. First, I wake up, get my best done, clean my room. Then I get in the shower. Just my luck. I haven't showered for a day and only get cold water. Question, who is God? Love, Mimi. Question, am I truly really sick? Dear Diary, I just got back from Denver last night. I was in the hospital for 4 weeks, and one day, don't worry, I brought home lots of souvenirs. There's Fred, my catheter. I also have a bunch of get well cards and presents. Mom took me to the Denver Zoo. It was real neat. Saw my first toucan. Love me. April 7th, 1997. Question, how do people die? July 15th, 1997. Question, is heaven real? Question, why doesn't God help me? So sad for her. I'm 10 years old now, and my mom threw me a surprise party for me. Fun! 3 exclamation points. Also, too scary. My sister is driving. Lovely me.
I feel like, so that one I explicitly like talk about CF, and I have an opportunity in the audience at the beginning where I say that I have cystic fibrosis, and then I ask like who in the room knows what CF is or knows someone with CF. My favorite part about that is always it's like, I know my friend died. My neighbor's daughter had CF and she died. Like it's always like any time that someone has a connection to CF, it's a dark connection, right? There's never like there's this inspirational piece because people I have find people with CF to be very inspirational. I am very inspirational, but but like it's a sickness, right? It's like if cancer became somebody's identity, but cancer doesn't have the same like identity piece, I feel like, as CF does because cancer seems beatable or treatable. And there is like, CF is always like, we'll fight till it's cure found, but I never resonate with that because I'm like, there's no cure for this. It's just, this is my human body condition. No matter if you change the cells in me every day, thank you, Trikafta, I will still have like CF is just part of me, part of who I am. I don't know I don't know who I would be without CF. So it's like that bad and good, right? Like there's blessings in this, I think. But yeah, so on that stage, I get to make people cheer for CF. I explain a little bit about what CF is. And then I get to go through these like diaries that I wrote when I was a kid and I was sick. And I was like, you get to really see like how a kid is processing having a terminal illness and being so sick. And then in typical stand-up, it's funny because stand-up is supposed to make people laugh. I'm supposed to be making people laugh, but I also like to make people cry a little bit too. Like I like both sides of that emotional spectrum so much. I want to be that inspirational, like, let me give you some details that are just gonna break your heart a little bit. And it doesn't have to be that you're heartbroken over me, but everybody knows someone in their life who's been sick. Or everybody knows the experience of feeling hopeless, of feeling like they got no guns in the battle, right? Like they were sent to war with no weapons. And that is what having CF can feel like a lot of times. Like, well, I guess I'm here. And that's all I got. And so I feel like there is that humanity that can, bring people together. And health is such a great equalizer. And I love that about health. I can talk to any room of any important person in the world because I understand health and I understand health from like oh shit, like when you're up against your body, it doesn't matter how many degrees you have. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how like little you have. What matters is your mind in that space and how you perceive the world. And so talking to people, from that lens of what really matters when it comes down to it, is is a good way to get people connected.